Hi guys, today I'm going to be sharing my tips on how to research your family history and your ancestry. So for myself personally, because I have an Italian background, I've been using websites and resources that are specific to Italian ancestry. So I'm sorry, but I might not have information for your particular background. But these are just my tips. I've managed to research 6 generations of my mum's maternal side, and so far I've done 4 generations on my dad's side, both paternal and maternal, with a lot of help from the community of people who are actually really interested in researching ancestry and helping each other, which I'll touch on later. So one of my first tip is make sure you speak to the oldest people in your family. That might be your parents, it might be your grandparents, it might be a great uncle, great aunt. Speak to them, go with a piece of paper and start drawing up your family tree. The oldest people in your family will have the most wealth of knowledge, and they'll be able to tell you a lot. Even though you might not think that they will remember certain things, they actually remember so much. So, just by talking to my grandparents for 10-15 minutes, I actually came away with a lot of information that my other family members were really impressed by, and they asked me, how did you find all of this information? And really all I did was speak to my grandparents. So it's really a great starting point. One of the things that you should ask the person that you're speaking to in regards to your ancestry is ask for maiden names. They're really important when you're looking at documents later that you'll find online. So my next tip is join some community ancestry Facebook groups. So these Facebook groups are really, really helpful in helping you translate documents, as well as pointing you in the right direction if you feel like you're not getting there, you're not finding what you need to find online. So what happened with me is I was using only one website at the time called Ancestry, which is an Italian website that has microfilm on it, which is like actual images of births, deaths, marriage records for different years, different towns, different, communes. So one of the things that you should also ask your grandparents that I forgot to mention is make sure you ask the town that they were born in, and the town that their family lived, as well as where the local city hall was, or where, the local city offices were. Because that will help you when you're looking through documents. It'll help you to figure out if the person you're looking at is, the correct ancestor because they lived in that correct town. And it'll also help you to track down documents when you know the city official, the official city council offices where they went and signed these documents. So for example, my grandparents are from a town called Padovati, and the town city kind of council office was located in Mileto. It still is today. So when I was looking at documents, I had to find the Mileto documents, not really the Padovati ones, if that makes sense. So it's where they actually signed the documents. Then when I found my documents and it said my ancestor's name and it said they were born in Padovati and they lived in Padovati, I know I found the right person. So going back to the Facebook groups, they're really helpful. They help, translate documents. There might be certain words or occupations, because all of the documents will say the person's occupation or their parents' occupations if it's a birth certificate. They'll help you translate those words, on request if you can't do it yourself. One of the things that I found was I was using only one website called Ancestry, where I was looking through all my documents and I could find documents for one particular formulator, but they were really, really old documents. They weren't recent documents. So I needed a different website, and these people actually pointed me in the right direction. and said, why don't you try familysearch.org, which is a great website. It's exactly the same as Antenati, except it's not as, I would say it's not as organised. Antenati is organised year by year, whereas Family Search is just kind of a period of years, so you have to actually sift through every single document to find the right one, which is, it can be a bit time consuming, but they're all on there, which I didn't think I was going to find any of my dad's side of the family because I couldn't find the documents on Antenati, but then I found them on Family Search. So definitely use the resources available to you. Use Facebook groups, use websites like Antenati, Family Search. Also try using the wikis. There's Family Search wikis that help you translate documents. My next tip is to find some kind of website that you like using to make your family tree. There are a lot of different websites that you can use. I haven't found any that I really love in terms of making a family tree, like a visual family tree. So I can't really give many recommendations. I'm using Canva, which is like a graphic design website that you can design different images, like you can design a logo or a poster or letterheads, different kinds of things, and you can also do family trees on there. They're not the greatest family trees and it's a bit tricky to use, but the reason why I use it is because it saves automatically, and that's really helpful to me because I actually lost a ton of information when my computer unfortunately just like completely died on me, so I actually lost a lot of information. So having Canva actually save automatically for me is really helpful, so I don't have to remember to save if you know I'm getting down this rabbit hole of looking through different documents and I forget to click save and then my computer dies, then I'm going to be really upset that I haven't actually kept that up to date. And that would be another tip as well, is as you're finding documents, keep your family tree up to date. Also translate your documents as you go, because you'll find that if you do it right at the end, you'll get really confused about who's who, especially if you have people with the same name, which has happened to me before, where there's a few Marias, for example, and you're like, which Maria is it again? I can't remember. So translate as you go. My next tip is to use something like Google Drive to save your documents, or if you have another kind of online storage or even like a hard drive, because unfortunately, like I said, I tracked 6 generations of my mum's maternal side, but then my computer died and I hadn't saved all of those on Google Drive, which means I lost that information. So I have to actually start again from scratch. Luckily I have my family tree, so I actually know who's who, when they were born, where they were born. I wrote all that information down, but I don't actually have the documents. So to find those documents again, I have to basically start from scratch, which is, you know, it's a bit annoying. So use something that saves automatically, uploads, you know, save it on a hard drive, save it somewhere else other than your computer, because it's not necessarily safe. My next tip is to do things methodically, and what I mean by that is write it down. So buy a journal and write down what you're actually looking at when you're looking at it. So for example, you might be looking at 1881 births in this town. Write that down. Write down whether you find any relatives or no, I didn't find any relatives. Because you will get to a point where you start confusing yourself about, I can't remember where I'm up to, I can't remember if I looked up that person, I can't remember if I looked at that date yet, and you'll start backtracking and you'll have to repeat what you've already done, all of the hard work that you've already put in. So keep a log of what you look at, and if you find anything, it also helps because you can write down and translate as you go. And keep all that information up to date. Otherwise, you will find yourself in a situation where you're just trusting your instinct. You're like, yeah, I know where I'm up to, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, no, I actually have no idea where I'm up to. And yeah. I think that's all of my tips. Is that all of my tips? I don't know. I guess the other thing would be sometimes people move, so they don't always stay in the same town, which, I mean, it's more common that they do stay in the same town, but sometimes they don't, which is what I found on my mum's maternal side. So generally what will happen as a tip is the man will get married in the town where the woman is from, and then they will move and live in the town where the man is from. So if you're struggling to find information on your ancestor, it might be like, for example, it might be because they were actually got married in a different town, or maybe they were born in a different town as well. So another tip would be get your Google Maps up, search the town that you're actually, your grandparents, for example, are from, and then search the area around and find out what particular communes are around that they may have actually gone to. The ones that are closest are going to be the most likely that the ancestor is from, rather than the ones that are further away. And yeah, pull up your Google Maps to see what's close, what's nearby, so you can look up those documents and you might be able to find them that way. Okay, that's it guys, those are all my tips. So just to quickly recap, speak to the oldest members of your family and get as much information as you can. Utilize the people around you, so utilize Facebook groups, utilize the resources available online as much as you can without having to contact official officers directly. Save your work as much as you can, and save it in a place where you know you're not going to lose it. Translate as you go, and keep a log of what you're doing and what you look at. And yeah, keep an open mind. Don't get frustrated with it. You know, just kind of, you know, work on it slowly. You will get there eventually. Trust me, it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a lot of practice to actually be really quick at finding documents. Like when I first started, I was really slow. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't do any of these things that I was talking about, except for maybe speak to my grandparents. But yeah, I wasn't organised at all, which means now I have to go back and start that kind of process over again for that side of the family. But yeah, so it doesn't happen overnight. I was quite slow, now I'm quite fast at finding documents, and I've got kind of like, I'm in a bit of a rhythm now with it. So it will happen for you, and you will find your ancestors, and good luck with your journey. I hope you find what you're looking for.